Guys, it's Tuesday. Well, no, I apologize. It's Wednesday night. Um, and I was thinking about it a little bit, and I know I said I wasn't gonna make you watch it, but basically, this is just part of the process. So tonight, we're just gonna finish kind of drawing in all of the walls and everything that we care about for for what we would what the next part will be, the low voltage adding devices in. So we're basically creating the XREF, and this is the CAD file that would be given to us at the start of the job. And again, you don't always get one, but no matter what, you want to make an XREF. I don't ever suggest like drawing the walls in and then adding all your devices and setting up your sheets. I would always like to have an XREF in as like a background that you're drawing over. So let's just get this going here. Let's just make sure that the walls are current. So to do that, we'll select the line. So do you see what's up here under layers? This is what is the current selection. So if I was to draw a line right now, it's going to come in green and it'll be under the text layer. And then just so for those who are using AutoCAD or are starting to use AutoCAD, you can either type in properties and you'll have a much, this will be the properties of whatever you select or whatever you're doing. So you can do all sorts of settings. I always turn my quick properties on though. I don't like having properties open on the side. So if you type in QP mode and set it to 1, that'll make it so that your quick properties are always on. And what those are is anytime you select something, this little box will appear and it'll kind of give you the very basics of what's going on with it. So it's telling us that it's a polyline. It's saying that the color is colored by layer and that the layer is wall. Okay. So let's make sure that our current layer selected for us to be using right now is wall. And let's just start going around, guys. It's going to take a little bit, but this is kind of where we're at right now. So might want to have ortho on for this, which is F8. And we'll just draw all this stuff in. So, yeah, I mean, most of the time, you guys, you will get, you will be provided, the XREF or the DWG from the contractor, usually the architect who's done the building. They'll provide this to you. So we're just gonna go around and copy all this stuff in. I'll try not to make you too dizzy watching this. And before we go through and trim anything, we're just gonna kind of draw in everything that we care about, which is basically we're just drawing in the walls. And again, this isn't ideal. Typically, most of the time, you guys, you will be provided with you will be provided with plans. This is just showing what to do in the situation that you weren't. And like I said, I just downloaded these plans. Another option that we could have is and maybe I'll show you that too, but we could just opt out of having this in CAD altogether, and we could take the PDF and manipulate it so that we could take the PDF and manipulate it and then just use that as the background. I mean, I've done that plenty of times too. And again, this is a really quick and dirty way. I may even be like off a little bit on the lines, but again, for whoever would be for the purposes that this would be needed for, it would be enough to get by. And then honestly, what could happen is if they provide out of nowhere, if they come in a couple months into the project or a month into the project and they say, oh, here's the background, you could just copy all your work out of this into the actual DWG. So we'll just take this and come all the way down. I know it's a little cumbersome and tedious to do this, and I don't love it, but it's what you got to do. Look at that, the Gog kennel. I can't imagine that that's correct. One funny thing too. I mean, if you're doing CAD long enough, um, sometimes you can do funny stuff. Let me just see here. Sometimes you'll encounter funny things, and I'll make something that I would add. And I haven't done this in a long time, but it was always somewhat funny to do. You can add. Let me hatch this real quick. We'll just make a little smiley face. We'll match this. This is now we're just screwing around, but all right. So one thing you can do is you could take this and scale it way down. And I'm going to hit Control C and then delete this. So basically, if there's somewhere where there's a period or a text, let's say like right here, you can add this in, and no one would know it was there except for a CAD person. If they come across it, they might see this little dot and zoom in, like, what the hell is that? I've seen this on stuff where it's a joke for other draftsmen. What the hell is that? And then they zoom in and look. It's funny. Yeah. Obviously, this is a very exciting job. All right. We'll just get this stuff copied over, and then once we get everything copied over and we get the text where we want it, then we'll come back through and we will we'll turn the PDF off, and then we will start. Then we'll start trimming everything out where it's supposed to be. Man, this is kind of a nasty one. Bear with me, guys. I know this is something else here. I think maybe it was something like this. It might have just been. It might have just been worth using a PDF for the purposes that we're doing, but I've definitely had jobs where I've had to do this. But I will say this isn't typical, and sometimes though you just got to do what you got to do to make things work right. To do the job and have it look good. We're almost there. I'm just gonna offset this just to save some steps. It's this type of stuff, you guys, is when CAD is really obnoxious. And there are times, when you have to do something like this, whether it's a background or whatever it is. Sometimes there's really tedious work in CAD, and you hate to do it, but it's got to get done. And there's just no way around it. This is when it's work. This is also the time when I would typically throw some headphones in and just either listen to a podcast or uh, have some music playing. I always like to have, man, the absolute worst is if I leave my headphones home or something. I didn't have my headphones when I would be in the office, and one of the guys in the cube farm by me, he would always be eating smoked almonds, man, and it was just the crunching noise was enough to drive you absolutely crazy. Let's get this in. We're almost there, guys. Let's just for fun, let's zoom out and see where we're at. Oops. And again, as you're doing a polyline, if you click somewhere you don't want, like let's say I click here, just type in U, then enter, and you can just continue on the way you were. It'll just undo it real fast. Let's get this. And I know, you guys, that sometimes I'm choosing this outer line and sometimes I'm doing the inner. They're not building the walls based off of my plan. We're just getting it as close as we can quickly. So again, I could really, really be anal about this and try to get it just perfect. But you know what? For what we're doing here, I'm really not too concerned about it, and I don't think the customer would be either. Otherwise, they would have provided us with a CAD file. So there's that. That's way up. And I'm not sure if you can hear the wind here, but man, it's like 20-mile-an-hour winds right now outside Minnesota. All right, I think that takes care of the walls. So something like this, like I would probably draw this in. I'm just trying to do my, so this has a bunch of arcs in it. So we'll just draw the quick straight lines here that belong, and then we'll just do arcs. So just type in ARC, and then you pick the midpoint, and then you just go. So pick the start point, midpoint, end point. Oops, I must have missed the midpoint. Again, guys, this is a little, this is a little more work than I would typically do, but Okay, so I mean, it would be helpful to know where the desks are too, but we're not going to care for our purposes here. So let's mirror this and let's start copying some doors around. Any more that we can throw in here? And sometimes, if like you're let's say you are the new drafter just starting out, this is the type of shit that you may be stuck doing. They may give you, get the drawing set up so that other guys can get in there and get it done. But the nice thing is, once you set up an XREF file, if there was multiple people working, working on this in this project, at least they could, yeah. See, this is definitely a larger door, but we're going with what we have. Let's see here. Again, I just don't feel like messing with it. All right, are we missing any? Just this one down here. Hit F8. Rotate this guy. Hit F8 again. Okay. I am calling this close enough. We can at least get this guy in. We'll get these two guys in. Again, these are looking like bigger doors. But this is definitely somewhere we'd like to see a door because there's probably like a key card access or something. Oh, one more here. And let's just take a look if there's any at the bottom. The exterior doors, you're going to have to figure that they're probably going to have a key card access on them. Oh, we'll mirror this. So if you want to mirror and keep it, you guys, you just type in mirror, select your point that you want it to mirror from, and then click the direction and then hit enter. If you don't want to keep the other half, type in mirror, select it, pick your point, and then hit type in no. Oops, that didn't work right. So mirror, select objects, select the mirror line, and then type in no. Weird. Normally it doesn't do that, so whatever. Again, it's been a while. I may not be doing something right. So let's see here. All right, we got the outer door there, and one more. Man, this thing has just a ton of doors in it. Let's see here. I'll get this one right here. All right, that looks like everything. So now the next thing I need to do is just run around and label the rooms, which shouldn't take too long. And typically you are always using caps. At least that's been my experience in CAD. Um, you know, a lot of times these days people are using Revit, and Revit is much faster for doing this stuff than an AutoCAD. We'll name this the correct thing. Actually, you know what? We're going to leave it as the GOG kennel. Let's see here. Cat kennel. And then just a kennel. Again, guys, not the most exciting thing, a little dry, but this is part of the process. It's somebody had to go through and create these, and this is kind of how it's done. Let's see here. And this place has a lot of spaces. And typically, one other thing I'd like to point out is a lot of times with architectural plans, there'll be dimensions and everything everywhere. So instead of going through and tracing, I would probably just drop in the grids per the dimensions shown and then do my walls per the dimensions shown. But since those are not on here, that's kind of why we're doing things the way we're doing, where we're just literally tracing over stuff. And again, sometimes this is what you get. You don't always get what you want, and you got to be kind of dirty with it. A lot of times you'll see people they'll measure stuff in Bluebeam or Adobe, and that's how they get their measurements, is just measuring it through the PDF. And a lot of times, if you were questioning something, like say we had nothing to go off of to get it to the right scale, that's when you message the contractor and say, hey, what's this? What's the length of this outer wall, or what's the opening of the door? What size is that? And all you need is one thing, and you can scale the whole drawing to that. I'm not going to put the boxes around the text. And another thing that I probably should have done is have created a layer called room names or something, so I can turn them on and off at will without messing with any of my other text. And we may do that down the road. All right, let's see here. At least we got a bunch of exam rooms. So here we have exam room 5. Oh, I'm gonna right after I type this one in, I'm gonna hit save. So one thing, always make sure, especially with AutoCAD, you can set it up where it has auto saves, but a lot of times it's up to you to manually hit save. And man, there is nothing worse than putting in, a half a day, a few hours, and then your AutoCAD freezes up because it happens, and the next thing you know, you are losing everything you just did. Um, I just had it the other day actually at my day job where two of us were working on a CAD drawing, and whatever happened, there was some sort of glitch. Normally, you can go to the BAK file, which is a backup file of AutoCAD, and then what you do is you rename it and type in DWG, and it will turn it back into a CAD file. And a lot of times, you can at least save some of your stuff. But in this instance, uh, we had no option. It was not working. All right, guys, we don't have too much more to do here. So let's just get this. These last couple rooms to label. And then we'll come through and we'll shut the PDF off, and then we'll come through and kind of clean these up a little bit. I thought there already was an exam room 5. So they obviously have some errors on this themselves that didn't make it through checking. And this is when all of a sudden, you see something like this on somebody else's project, and you cloud it, and you put verify that you did intend to have two. Oh, right here, guys, under the M text, if with the quick properties pulled up with M text, I'm able to change the justification to change that to center. I think we got everything except for this meter room, which we'll get right now. Okay. So instead of deleting this PDF, because we may find out that we're missing something like this accessible restroom. Let's get this last one in here. Let's change the justification to top center. And we'll move this guy right in here. Okay. So that looks like everything we care about for the moment. So we can select this PDF, right click, and go to isolate, and go to hide objects. So now we have kind of a nice clean start to this. So one thing we can do is just kind of come through and kind of clean this stuff up. Again, none of this is perfect, and honestly at this point I don't really care. We're just gonna go fast and dirty through this and get it set up so that we could at least have a decent background that we can work with here. Trim this one too. And this isn't going to be perfect, guys. There's little errors and stuff all over the place, but I don't even care at this point. Again, this is where, say we were waiting, we knew the architect was going to come forward, or he was out for the week. This is something we could do to get the job going. And still have something that you could show the customer and have it look good, for them. So let's see here. Looks like we missed this altogether. But with the trim command, you can just carry stuff through. Just trim it up. Super fast and dirty. Let's trim this out. And the reason we even care about these exterior doors is because a lot of times, if this was a school or I think this is some sort of hospital building, these will have key card access on them. We'll just jump to it a little more. Just cut these out. And oops, we went a little too far on that one. We'll just undo. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Because it was one continuous command and I didn't hit enter, when I did undo it, just deleted everything that I was just working on. So we'll just come right back through and do these again, but I'm going to make sure to hit enter once in a while to reset the command so that if that happens again, we don't lose everything. And again, guys, I know that there's people that will watch this and be like, I wouldn't do it this way or I wouldn't do it this way. And with CAD, there's 10 ways to do it, and this is just a super fast and dirty way. Again, I'm still kind of learning how to show what I do at work, and there's so many different ways to do it, and this is kind of what came to my mind when I was looking at just a blank PDF. So uh, here we go. So this is our initial setup of the building. We have the PDF off. We have the rooms labeled. We have the doors. We now have something that we can actually work with to get set up. So what we will do with this is we will do save. And then we're going to do a save as of this, and we're going to name this just hospital. Actually, I'll do X dash hospital, kind of representing that it's an XREF. And we'll do a save as of that. And now, you know what? I'm going to wait till part 3 and we'll show what to do now that we have this. So